It seems like every year your lawn starts spring looking great, and then as the brutal summer weather drags on, it just starts to fall apart on you. Trust me, I've been there plenty of times myself, battling fungus, drought, and pests through the worst of July and August and watching all my spring work disappear right along with the green. Fall is right around the corner now though, which means we are heading into the prime window to repair the damage and get the lawn back into shape before winter shows up. Most fall overseeding failures come down to two things almost nobody talks about. From the moment you pick the bag of seed off the shelf to when you finally put the fertilizer down, most people get at least one of the steps wrong without ever knowing it. I'm going to show you why most people fail at fall overseeding, along with the exact order you need to do everything in, so you are not throwing another $60 bag of seed at a lawn that was never going to take it in the first place. I'm Lenny, and I've been sharing lawn tips for years now, and every fall I get the same round of questions from people trying to bring their yards back after a rough summer. Let me know in the comments if you're planning to overseed this year, and whether you're doing the whole lawn or just patching up a few damaged areas, because that changes a lot. Before you buy a single bag of seed, you have to understand that fall overseeding success comes down to more than just seed quality and effort. And in a surprising number of cases, it comes down to whether you should even be overseeding in the first place. The reason fall works as the prime window is really about the weather more than anything else, because the soil is still warm from summer, which pushes fast germination, while the air is finally cool enough to stop stressing new seedlings and keep that seed moist between waterings. Those same cooler temperatures drop fungus and disease pressure way down. That matters because you're about to water a lot, and heavy watering in 90-degree weather is how you cook a batch of seed and grow disease at the same time. What most people miss, though, is that plenty of lawns getting overseeded every September should have been left completely alone. If your lawn made it through the summer thick and green and it still looks healthy, you do not need to overseed it. And if you overseed a healthy, established lawn just because you always do, you end up with an overcrowded canopy that becomes a real disease problem the following year. If it is only a few thin spots here and there, seed those spots and leave the rest of the yard alone, because you will save yourself a bunch of time, a bunch of work, and a real chunk of money. So the real question is whether you should be overseeding at all this fall, and if you are, how to sequence the whole job so you do not waste the window. There are a handful of ways to blow this, and I want to walk through them in order of how much damage they do. Let's start with the biggest one by a wide margin, because if this catches you, nothing else in this video really matters until you sort it out. As you get closer to fall, quality grass seed gets harder to find, because everybody else has the same idea you do and the good stuff sells out fast. I have waited too long to buy seed before, and I ended up grabbing whatever was left on the shelf, and I paid for that decision for the next 2 seasons pulling weeds that came in with the cheap blend. Think about what happens in millions of yards every September. You wait until Saturday morning, you drive to the big box store, you grab whatever is left because the good stuff is already gone, you spread it, and you water for 3 weeks. It comes up beautifully. You are proud of yourself. And next April, your lawn is full of weeds you have never seen before in your life. You did not fail. You planted them right there on the bag. All the hard work you put into that overseeding job is undone because you introduced a whole new crop of weed seed into the yard that you now get to fight all through next season. The fix is a 30-second check that costs you absolutely nothing. Before you spread anything, before you even leave the store, flip the bag over and read the label. You are looking for 0% weed seed and 0% filler, and if the label does not clearly state that, the bag stays on the shelf. Some people go a step further and only buy blue tag certified seed, which just means the bag has been tested and verified for purity, and there is nothing wrong with that route. You are just going to pay a little more for the peace of mind. Either way, the important thing is that you are actually reading what is in the bag before you spend the money. Because a cheap blend loaded with filler and weed seed is not really cheap once you start paying for it in weeds next spring. And that is really what all of this comes down to, making the right call at each step instead of grabbing what is left over and hoping for the best. Which is why I put together my book, Fix Your Lawn in 30 Days. Most folks I talk to are honestly worn out from spending money on fertilizer that never seems to work, and worn out from watching the same weeds come back every single spring. If that sounds like you, this book is the plan you've been missing because it tells you exactly what to do, what to buy, and when to put it down. Scan the QR code on the screen or click the link in the description to grab your copy over at fixyourlawnin30days.com and finally transform your lawn. All right, back to the traps that are costing people their whole season. The second mistake is another timing problem, but this one is about the calendar instead of the shelf. For a cool season lawn, what you are actually looking for is a stretch of cooler air while the soil temperatures are still warm somewhere between 50 and 65 degrees, with enough cushion before your typical first frost that the new grass has time to establish before winter shows up. For most people, that ends up being late August through the middle of September, and it does move around from year to year based on the weather. If you push into October chasing a free Saturday, the soil temperatures drop, germination slows way down, and the first frost catches your new seedlings before they have really rooted in, and you have burned the season. If you go too early in August, the heat and fungus pressure are still high, and you lose the cool weather advantage the whole strategy depends on. Sequencing really is the whole ballgame here. The practical move is to look up your typical first frost date for your zip code, back off about 6 to 8 weeks from that, and mark the window on the calendar so you are not making the call the day before you need to do the work. The third thing is the one I teased at the start, and I would bet most of you have been doing it the opposite of the way you should. For anyone overseeding an established lawn, the fertilizer timing rule most people follow works directly against them, and it happens because the intuition seems so obviously right in the moment. You put the seed down and you want the new grass to jump out of the ground fast, so you throw down starter fertilizer at the same time to give it a boost, and you might as well knock it out in one afternoon. What actually happens is that the fertilizer feeds your mature grass first, because that grass already has a full root system and it is ready to run. So the existing turf shoots up in growth right when your new seedlings are trying to get out of the ground, and your seedlings get crowded out and shaded out before they ever really establish. You have just fed the competition. The rule to actually follow is pretty simple. If you are seeding bare soil or bare spots that have no grass in them, put the starter fertilizer down now, because there is nothing to compete with the new seed and it needs the boost. If you are overseeding into an established lawn, wait until after your new seedlings have germinated before you put any fertilizer down, and you will find the existing grass grows a lot slower in those first couple of weeks, which gives the new seed time to catch up and fill in. There is a bonus to waiting too, because you keep the mower off the lawn longer, which lets those young seedlings settle in without getting mowed down or trampled while they are still fragile. Rewind that one if you need to, because this single rule is why so many people watch their bare spots stay bare while the rest of the lawn fills in just fine around them. It is counterintuitive, it costs nothing to get right, and skipping it is why so many people watch their bare spots stay bare while the rest of the lawn grows in just fine around them. The fourth thing wrecks more overseeding jobs than bad seed ever has, and it is the prep work, or more specifically doing it in the wrong order. Grass seed needs actual contact with actual soil to germinate because it cannot sprout sitting on top of a thick canopy of grass blades or a heavy layer of thatch. It has to work its way down and touch dirt. That means the mowing has to be part of the plan, not an afterthought. Start dropping your height of cut gradually about 2 to 3 weeks before you plan to seed, so the grass has time to adjust and you are not scalping it on the way down. The day you seed, take it one more notch lower than you normally mow, which for me works out to about 2 3/4 inches, and bag the clippings on that pass so you are pulling as much material off the lawn as you can and opening up the canopy for the seed to fall through. Dough thatching is optional, but if you have never dough thatched your lawn before, or if you can grab a handful of thatch off the top layer, it is well worth doing. You can rent a gas-powered dough thatcher from most hardware stores for about $50 for 4 hours, and I promise you that machine will do work an electric dough thatcher or a rake will never touch. Core aeration is where the comments get spicy, because every time I put out a video like this, someone insists you cannot possibly succeed at overseeding without aerating first, and that is just not true. I have had great overseeding results without aerating, and I have had great results with aerating, so it comes down to whether your soil actually needs it, and fall is a great time to do it anyway for reasons that have nothing to do with the seed, like getting water and nutrients down to the root zone. If you do decide to aerate, You can rent a walk behind aerator for around $60 for 4 hours, or a ride on unit for about $135 for 4 hours if you have a bigger lawn or a bad back. The bonus you get almost for free from aerating is that those little plugs you pull out do not need to be raked up and hauled off. I have never removed the cores from any lawn I have aerated. They dry out and break down naturally over the next couple of weeks, and they have never caused any germination problems for me. If people in the comments tell you they have to come off, they really do not. One small note, if you leave the cores on the surface, skip using a lawn roller after you seed, because rolling will just compact those cores back down and prevent them from breaking apart on their own. Now there is one more piece of received wisdom I want to knock down, because it costs people real time and money for no reason. Every time this topic comes up, someone will tell you that if you do not top dress your overseeded lawn with peat moss or topsoil, your results are going to be terrible. I have overseeded my own lawn plenty of times without top dressing anything, especially in years where I aerated, and the results have been just fine. The core principle is that if you get the grass low, the seed to the soil, and the surface consistently moist, nature handles the rest. Where top dressing does actually earn its keep is on bare, exposed spots where the seed is going to roll around or wash out with the first heavy watering. And in that case, a light layer of a sterilized medium like peat moss or coconut coir gives the seed something to hold on to. Stay away from bagged topsoil for this, because a lot of those bags carry weed seed in them, and you would rather not undo the label check you already did on the grass seed by importing weeds through the top dressing. Top dressing is a tool for specific situations. It is not a required ritual you have to perform every time you seed. Before we get to the actual application, let's talk about when overseeding just is not going to cut it, because I do not want to send you into this whole plan on a lawn where it cannot work no matter what else you do right. If your lawn is mostly weeds at this point, honestly, overseeding into that is not going to get you where you want to be in one fall, and you are probably looking at a full renovation, which means killing everything off and starting over from scratch. That is a lot of work, and it is a real commitment, so you need to weigh it against your own situation before you go that route. The middle case, which is what most people are actually in, is a thinned out lawn that still has real grass in it, and that is a great candidate for overseeding, because blending new cultivars in over a couple of fall cycles will genuinely transform how the lawn looks. This is not a one and done process, and you should expect it to take 2 or maybe 3 fall seasons before the lawn really looks the way you want it to look. I have been blending a quality tall fescue into my own lawn for a few seasons now, and the difference in color and density year over year has been huge, but none of it happened in a single fall. Once the prep is done, spreading the seed is pretty straightforward. I use a broadcast spreader for most of the work, but a drop spreader works fine too if that is what you already own. Just be careful around landscaping beds and any edges you do not want seed in, because even with an edge guard, it is easy to get seed in places you did not plan for. If you do not have a spreader, most hardware stores will rent you one for a few bucks, so there is no reason to buy one just for this job. Spread the seed at the rate on the label. For most quality tall fescue blends, that comes out to 8 to 12 pounds per 1,000 square feet on bare areas or new lawns, and 4 to 6 pounds per 1,000 square feet if you are overseeding into an established lawn. Try to keep coverage as even as you can across the whole area, and take an extra pass or two over the bare spots to make sure they actually get enough seed on them, because those spots are working with no head start at all. There is also a machine called a slit seeder, which you load with grass seed and then push across the lawn, and it cuts little slits in the soil and drops the seed directly into them, which is a great option if you have a bigger job or you want the best possible seed to soil contact. Once the seed is down, you can go over the areas with a light rake to blend it in, or you can run a lawn roller over the whole yard for even better contact, and again, skip the roller if you left aeration cores on the surface. The single highest value thing in this whole video does not cost you $1, and it is where most fall overseeding failures actually happen, which is the watering. Watering a germinating seed is completely different from watering an established lawn, and this is where people who otherwise know exactly what they are doing get tripped up. An established lawn wants deep and infrequent watering, because that is what drives the roots down. A new seed has no roots yet. It is sitting in the top half inch of soil, And if that half-inch dries out even once after germination starts, the seedling dies and there is no bringing it back. So while you are waiting for germination, you want the opposite of your normal routine, which is light and frequent, just enough to keep the surface consistently damp without soaking it. I run 2 to 3 cycles per day for about 5 to 10 minutes per area, one in the morning, one around lunchtime, and one in the mid-afternoon. And if you see any puddling anywhere you are putting way too much down and you need to back off, hold that schedule for the first week or two, which gives everything time to fully germinate. Once the new grass is up and you can see solid coverage, cut back to once or twice a day with slightly longer runs, moving toward less frequent but deeper watering. After about a month, you can usually return to normal, which for most of us just means relying on rainfall unless we hit a dry stretch. One more free thing, stay off the seeded area while it is coming up, because foot traffic across a germinating patch will kill a surprising amount of the seedlings you work to grow, and you will see the trail you walked as a bare stripe 2 months later. So let's put all of this together into an actual order of operations you can follow. Step 1, decide whether you actually need to overseed at all, and if the lawn is thick and healthy, spot seed the damaged areas instead of blanket seeding the whole yard, because you will save time and money and you will avoid crowding a healthy lawn. Step 2, buy your seed early and read the label, looking for 0% weed seed and 0% filler, and consider Blue Tag certified if you want the extra assurance. Step 3, watch the calendar and time the window for cooler air while the soil temperatures are still between 50 and 65 degrees, with a comfortable cushion before your typical first frost, which for most cool season regions lands in late August through the middle of September. Step 4, start dropping your mowing height gradually over the 2 to 3 weeks leading up to seeding, and on the day you seed, take it one more notch lower than normal, around 2 3/4 inches, and bag the clippings on that pass. Step 5, thatch if your lawn needs it, especially if you have never done it, where you can see a thick layer, and rent a gas thatcher rather than trying to muscle through it with a rake. Step 6, aerate if you want the extra soil benefits, knowing that it is not required for overseeding to work, and if you do aerate, leave the cores on the surface to break down on their own. Step 7, spread the seed at the correct rate for your situation, 8 to 12 pounds per 1,000 square feet on bare areas and 4 to 6 pounds per 1,000 square feet on an established lawn, with even coverage and extra passes over the bare spots. Step 8, lightly rake or roll the seed in for better soil contact and skip the roller if you left aeration cores on the ground. Step 9, handle the starter fertilizer the right way, which means putting it down now on bare soil and waiting until after germination if you are overseeding an established lawn. Step 10, water light and frequent until you have germination, then move gradually toward deeper and less frequent watering as the new grass fills in, and stay off it the whole time it is establishing. Most lawns coming out of a rough summer are not lost causes. They are just tired, and they need one good fall to start pulling back in the right direction. If you buy quality seed early, hit the window, get the seed to the soil, water it like a seed instead of like a lawn, and get the fertilizer timing right, you have done the real work, and next spring you will see the difference in the lawn. Do not expect a complete turnaround in 6 weeks, because that is exactly how people give up right before the whole thing starts to click for them. 1 fall of overseeding will noticeably improve the lawn, and 2 fall cycles back to back will genuinely transform it. And the reason it works is that you are stacking new grass on top of new grass and building a thicker, more durable stand every single year. The whole thing really comes down to having a plan, being prepared for the window when the weather actually shows up, and putting in the effort up front to set yourself up for a real result instead of hoping something works out. Thanks a lot for watching, and if this video helped you out, hit the like button so more people can find it, and go ahead and subscribe with notifications on if you want to catch the follow-up videos I have coming soon. Click the video appearing on your screen for more, and I will see you next time.